All right, the time is 4 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the Plan Commission meeting to order on Tuesday, March 11th at the municipal building and via Zoom. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kessenich,
Here.
Commissioner Highfield,
Here.
Commissioner Huff,
Here.
Commissioner Scholl.
Here.
Oh, thank you. Council Representative Schultz,
Here.
Manager Houseman.
Here.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 3, which is new business review and possible action relating to the minutes of the February 25th, 2025 Plan Commission meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Second.
Oh, all right. We've got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you. Next item is review and possible action on a planned unit development specific implementation plan for the property known as Lot 1 and previously known as Lot 61, located east of Fort Atkinson High School, south of Trillium Drive, and west of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson. This is PUD-2025-01. Mr. Drager.
Hello. So we're seeing this one more time, hopefully. This is the site plan version of the PUD process, the specific implementation plan. Previously, we have seen the general development plan, which is the zoning portion. We did review most of these items ahead of time. This is the portion of the PUD process where we take a little bit deeper dive into the site plan and make sure nothing's being missed and really break down the criteria. If you look at the screen there, we can have an overall view of the layout of the building there, parking lot. As we've discussed in the past, there were some setbacks, or there are setbacks that were included as flexibilities in this zoning with the PUD overlay. There is some parking that was previously in a stormwater easement area that was removed. There is one small area which will be a cross section to go over to a potential second building in the future. However, that is, for the most part, it's meeting the zoning ordinances. As you'll remember, the setbacks in the front, rear and side, and then also the landscaping points for the size of the building were the flexibilities that were asked for in the general zoning. If you would please scroll down a little bit further. There we can see some stormwater management. There's that easement to the right with the green. That's stormwater pipe bringing stormwater from the development to the north. The outlot toward the bottom there is a regional stormwater pond. But as we're looking at this overall site, it is just those minor flexibilities they were asking for. We do had some other things that came up. There was some landscaping that was short on another area, as well as the entrance there, according to our ordinances, shouldn't be within that proximity of another street. However, the size and the amount of traffic, we're suggesting that this be allowed or waived, as it does make a nice four-way intersection there with the amount of traffic coming. Shifting that would likely not cause any improvements, if not make it slightly worse. So as we go down, continue there you see some of the unit layouts and parking, landscaping here. And as we stated before, with the size of the building and the height, as it's 3 stories with the parking underneath, it's extremely hard on this site to achieve those landscaping points that are required for that gross square footage. So it might be something we want to look at in our ordinance in the future for multi-story buildings, or in this process, it does work its way out and under scrutiny, if you will. Also here, you can see the parking layout. There is a wash bay down there. As we've noticed in the past, there is one parking stall short of the number of units in the building. This, I believe, was for some amenities in the lower level there in the parking area. How they are going to handle that, we are not sure as far as leasing out those spaces. Generally with the site plan, and that we don't really get into how they're going to manage the facility and how they're renting out the spaces. The building in general is primarily 1 and 2 bedroom with some efficiency apartments as well. It has a work area, community work area, and some office spaces. I believe this is on the first floor.
Yeah, this is the first floor. There's
Yeah.
the lobby and the,
Right, with some office
yep,
spaces there.
little office space.
There is a activity or workout area on another floor. This will be the second floor, so I believe that's the third floor that'll have the
Yep.
workout area.
There's the-
And then the community workspace and offices on that second floor. So there are some nice amenities in the building. As far as the interior design of it, I believe they're supposed to be towards that middle to higher end appliances and fixtures in there. I believe it was relayed to us. They tend to get just an overall happier occupant when you upgrade those just a little bit, and durability comes along with that. This will be a rental property, so it'll be under management. So it will not be individual ownership. Here we can see the 3 stories, some articulation in the building, different colors and textures for these long straight walls. That there's south elevation facing the pond. That's the east. That'll be facing Banker Road. And then there we have the north along Trillium, and then the east. Where did we see the west? We missed it. There's the west, and that'll be facing the high school. So overall, staff found that this was a well-done project. There are very few things above the original general development plan that was put on the overlay for the PUD that was found here, and most of them were found to be easily waived or with good reason for it. And I would welcome any questions to go along with this. If you would, before I let you shoot you off on questions, I'll go through a couple of those additional things. Recommending to waive the access within 50 feet of an intersection does make a nice uniform 4-way intersection. There were a couple items that were missing, a stormwater management plan and construction site, but those are typically something that comes a little bit later on and are included in the construction permit. A building permit, those are requested. They do have a management plan overall, but it was mostly those construction site ones where the tracking pad and those things would be shown on a plan. But those are required before a building permit is issued, so those are easily reviewed before that goes any further. Landscaping points, as I alluded to, there was another area where the street frontage landscaping was about 135 points short. Is recommended that they try to achieve that. It was, I know they're getting a little tight on there, but we feel that there's a couple areas where they can improve some landscaping. I don't know how they're going to get the trees, but the gross square footage was a tough one, and that was a large number to make up for. But a few extra points here, I think they could. The staff feels that they could probably make that up. Once again, you require that erosion control plan, and then any other recommendations from the Plan Commission and city staff, and I welcome your questions after that.
Okay, I was trying to pull up the recommendation here from the staff report, so the Plan Commission understands what we're looking at. And as Jed alluded to, staff does recommend approval of this specific implementation plan. Just Jed, maybe you want to give us just the 30-second background of the history of this project, of the approval processes?
Yes. So with this PUD process, it goes first and foremost is a public hearing. Gets notice to the surrounding residents where they have the opportunity to come and voice an opinion. I do not believe we had anybody here for that. Then the general development plan, which is the zoning part, comes before this Plan Commission here, and then moves forward to City Council for 3 readings. I believe they forewent the third reading and did 2 readings. And then this is the site plan approval process of that, which is reviewed here, very similar to a site plan approval would be for any other project. And this is the approval of that that site plan or the SIP portion of the planned unit development process.
Any questions for Mr. Drager on this project?
I know we've kind of looked through this
Yeah.
a number of times already, yes.
I appreciate the thoroughness of the staff report. You know, it's nice that when you call out all of the necessary flexibilities and things that are meeting the code or not meeting the code and why they're not meeting the code. So I think as a planning commission member, I appreciate that very much. You know, prior to this whole PUD process, we also reviewed a lot of this project when we worked through the development agreement with Intrepid Investments. So this has been something that city staff has been working on for many, many months. So this meeting tonight really represents the culmination of a lot of that work. So I'm very pleased that we are moving forward with this planned unit development and for this specific implementation plan for this 87 unit apartment building. As has been mentioned a number of times in a number of different venues, it's been over 20 years, maybe even closer to 25 years since the city has seen a new multifamily development of this nature. So I'm just very pleased to be a part of it. With that, if there are any other questions or comments from the Plan Commission relating to this project for Mr. Drager or just general comments, we would entertain them at this time.
Jed, did I miss the sidewalks?
The sidewalks will be included, the part of the, maybe, you can speak further to that, but that will be handled as part of the road construction project.
Okay.
So the development as a whole will receive sidewalk as part of the road construction.
On both sides,
Correct.
5-foot sidewalk, both sides of every street in this development put in through the city's infrastructure project. We are working with the developer on when those go in, because obviously when things are a construction zone for multiple years, it might not make sense to put in all the sidewalk at one time, and because a lot of it does get destroyed when it gets run over by large pieces of equipment. But we are actively working with the developer, the design engineers, and the other stakeholders to determine the most appropriate time to put that sidewalk in.
Thanks.
We also do want to make sure that new residents don't have to wait until the subdivision is built out before they can walk around the property. So that is also an element of our decision-making process.
Last you.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the Plan Commission? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to approve this specific implementation plan, subject to the conditions outlined in the staff report on page 11?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the let's see. Review and possible action on a planned unit development specific implementation plan for the property known as Lot 2 and previously known as Lot 1, located east of Fort Atkinson High School, north of Trillium Drive, and west of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson. This is PUD-2025-02.
Yes, so here we are, the second project that we've been viewing through this PUD process. This is the Lot 2, which is on the north side of Trillium, is a two principal building, 4 units each for a total of 8 units. These 8 units are proposed to be privately owned. So it is very likely we'll be seeing a condo plat as well to move forward here. I should note that in the last approval and this one, both of those CSMs have been recorded. So they are actual properties at this point, which is nice. So those have been recorded officially. Moving forward here, this is once again that two principal building townhome set up here, as you can see there. Part of the PUD process, this was brought forward because of a couple things, setbacks. Once again, as we know, the lot was a bit restrictive on elevations and for orientation of the buildings, as well as the two principal buildings, whereas our ordinance only allows for one principal building. In order to accommodate two, they would have to do the PUD process. So that is where this process started. The setbacks and the two principal buildings, as well as the throat length as the driveway coming in there, those were all part of the general development plan and approved through that process. So now we're looking at the site landscaping and all those other aspects of this approval through the site plan approval or special implementation plan. We can see here, like I said, they're individual units. Larger units will be on the west portion of the property. Each has their own private garage and parking area. Initially, this did not have any curbing there at the entrance there, which was requested to be added to control some stormwater coming in and out of there. When staff did not feel it was best to be, channeling it right out the drive into the street. Landscaping, as you saw in the one previous to this, here you can see the layout of these individual units. I would imagine they're mirrored from one building to the next. They are, as I said, going to be privately owned, and that's where that condo plat will come in, where they will be individually parceled. They will be sharing as part of that condo, they'll be sharing the parcel of land itself. And I believe the intent is to include another property across from Marigold into that same condo association to kind of split those costs of maintenance on the property, lawn mowing, snow removal, and those aspects. As here you can see, this is the entrance of the building, so these will be facing each other. So they're very nice looking buildings in staff's opinion. Private garage doors. This is facing Trillium. Initially, the design had just a straight wall. Our ordinance requires some articulation and color changes along longer walls, which they added along with some screening of their mechanicals. Those would be patio and some air conditioners back there. This is the east and west elevations, which also were enhanced to improve the outside view of these buildings from the street. Which they have done. And I think they did a nice job of making two what wouldn't be front-facing structures that are not front-facing look well from the street perspective as well. There were a couple other minor, really very minor things here. The additional curbing around some of those landscape areas. Engineering and staff felt that this helped with leaving it off, helped with the management of the water on site, leaving some of those parking areas to drain into their own grass areas there. There is, as I said, there is a requirement though for curbing around all the areas. It was just felt that it may be unnecessary here, and it's one of those recommended things to waive as part of this approval. Covenants, once again, construction erosion control plan. Those are some items that we'd be looking for or suggesting as a recommendation to require as part of this approval. Those would come along with that condo plat, would be that covenant with the individual structures, shared ownership of some of the roof structures and maintenance of those parts of the building. And then once again, that erosion control plan, which would be part of the building permit. Staff does recommend approval of this special implementation plan, finding that if the plan commission finds that it's inconsistent with the approved general development plan, as I said, require the applicant to provide evidence of deed restrictions, waive that requirement of parking stall pavement markings and the additional curbing, waive the requirement for primary entrance to be facing the street, as we've already went through that. The orientations of the building are facing each other. And allow the minimum required number of building foundational plantings to be met with the overall landscaping plan, because they have some additional landscaping in other areas, may not just be in the specific area that it's intended. But overall, it's exceeding the number of landscaping points that are required. And with that, I'll welcome any questions from this plan commission.
Any questions from the Plan Commission for Mr. Drager on this project?
Jed, did the developer provide any sort of estimated market value of these units, these?
No,
condos?
we did not get an estimated market value for them. As we all know, that can go up and down, but it really comes down to a lot of different criteria, finishings on the inside. We're just not really given that information as part of the approval process.
Other questions from the Plan Commission? Again, I will just comment how pleased I am to see this project move forward. This has been something we've been working on for a number of months. It feels like a number of years, but this specific project has just been a number of months. So I'm very pleased to see it move forward. And I think this is a really, this is a product that we don't have much of in the city of Fort Atkinson. And I think that it will, inspire some folks to change their living environments and then maybe open up other options for other types of housing in the city as well. So I'm just really pleased that we've been able to have such a successful working relationship with the developer and be able to bring this project forward. So the staff recommendation is that the Plan Commission approves the specific implementation plan for this PUD-2025-02. Addresses TBD to be determined when we work through some of that stuff, subject to the 9 conditions here that are outlined in on page 76 here of the staff report.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Does anybody care to make a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions, comments from the Plan Commission? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you. Item 3D is review and possible action relating to a site plan review for signage at Badgerland After School Enrichment Program, or BASE, at 1233 Janesville Avenue. Mr. Drager.
Yes, thank you. As I'm sure you noticed in the packet, there's a lot more to this packet than just some signage. But the representatives from BASE and MSI and city staff all felt it would be beneficial to include a lot of the other items that'll be changing on this site. That includes a playing field, soccer field area, playground area. They are making some color changes to the facade. I would imagine some landscaping improvements, although that's not on the plan necessarily. A considerable amount of parking is being removed with those playing fields. Yeah, as you can see here, this is the overall topography of the site as it stands today, with the parking areas to your right side of there, which is also the east. The building as it stands as well, with multiple entrances to the parking areas. As I said, this is mostly just for signage. That's what the approval process is, but it is nice to see the overall project and how this is being changed. So like I said, there are some minor facade changes here that go along with that signage. There you can see the green space to the east playing area. So that's a significant amount of pavement that'll be removed and become permeable surface, which will be a nice thing for this site as it is a large area of pavement. We did do calculations on the number of parking spaces for the use of the building. It's meeting those requirements. But once again, the use of a playing and soccer field in the urban mixed use zoning district is permitted by right. So it doesn't necessarily need approval for it. But once again, they're wanting to include the whole scope of the project that they're doing here. So just a lot of nice features going on here. There you can see some of the color changes and improvements on the exterior of the building, but not really any significant alterations. There you can see the signage that is part of this approval. That is meeting the city's requirements for square footage and size. It is quite a large building, and there is one to the further back on that picture, which is to the east, which is not part of this approval. It is be proposed for a future entrance use. So I don't have any measurements for that as they're not included on this one. From there, I will take any questions, but staff does recommend approval of the signage. I should note that in this picture, you can see there's a couple existing monument signs that are out front there. They're proposed to change some faces in there and spruce them up a little bit. But once again, there's no approval for face changes there, just as long as the electronic message board is following our ordinance for time and change and not flashing or scrolling. But anyway, so like I said, staff recommends approval of this signage, and I welcome any questions.
Could we see the drawings, detailed drawings of the signs and dimensions? Just
Of
up on
the building
screen?
signage?
Yeah,
What we have is just what we had on there, which is
Okay.
on the building. They're individual letters. This was kind of I wouldn't say time of the essence project, but it is hard to get an overall view of that. But they are individual letters. I believe I have them down as 4 inches away from the building.
It seems to scale with that entrance of the building. Let's see.
In this image, you can see, yeah, right there, you can see the existing monument sign with that electronic message board in it that is existing. There's no alteration to that planned other than a face change on a couple of the other areas of that sign. There's a proposed future gym and playground area. I've had discussions with Base and MSI about those. Those would come before Plan Commission at a future time if they did plan to move forward with those. As you can see, there would be some changes needed for egress into the site, as well as making sure we're meeting design requirements and setbacks. And then the same thing with the play area up front, being that it's in the front yard, it could only be a 4-inch or a 4-foot fence rather than 6 foot. So some small details like that, but once again, those would come before Plan Commission in the future.
So this agenda item for the Plan Commission's action is really just on those 2 signs that if I can scroll there.
Yep, right there.
Those 2 signs.
and you said the overhead sign is individual letters,
Correct.
dimensional letters, I
Mhm.
assume. And then the more square sign is,
Would be similar, yeah. The square footage is deceiving. It gives you an overall size, which
Mhm.
our ordinance allows for multiple different ways to establish that square footage. So if you are, let's say, in a pinch for the amount of space that you have available, you can size each of those letters individually. But with this size of a building, they have the option just to take the overall area of the signage and count that, and they don't have to get down into the specifics of each individual letter.
and that's also going to be dimensional, or is that a
Yes, that's
flat
also-
pan? Okay.
Yep.
Will it be backlit at all?
I do not have any information on lighting at all for
Okay.
this.
Okay, any additional questions for Mr. Drager from the Plan Commission? Okay, Jed, do you want to remind us of any conditions included in the staff report? I think you can get there before I scroll there.
As proposed.
As proposed, okay. So if there are no additional questions, I would entertain a motion to approve this site plan review for signage at Badgerland After School Enrichment Program, 1233 Janesville Avenue, as proposed.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, again, I would just want to say how pleased I am to be able to be in a position where we are approving signage for this project. This is another project that has been going on for quite some time, trying to find an appropriate location for this building and programming, as well as doing exterior and interior renovations in order to accommodate base, which is a very important, provides a very important service in this community. So I'm pleased that they found a space, and I'm pleased that we're here today approving the signage. So if there is a motion and a second on the floor, so I will go ahead and call the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. One more item on the agenda before adjournment, and that is review and possible action on a special area design review for windows located at 131 North Main Street. This is Special Area Design Review 2025-01. Mr. Drager.
Yes, thank you. Yes, this is the special area design review renovation review portion of that, where it is replacing windows with same color, no alterations really to the exterior of the building. This one in review was a little interesting. A little discovery was done with this. Our ordinance does require that window replacements be dark frames or bronze, as an example, dark bronze. But as in reviewing this, as you can see some of these historical pictures, this one has some of the newer windows and the older windows to the second story there. We'll also see some older images from that, which show it as a darker frame. We also, as part of our ordinance, ask that they replace and keep things as they are, replace one color for the same, or if they are changing colors, then that requires a review. So staff, as part of this approval, is recommending letting the homeowner continue, or not, excuse me, not the homeowner, building owner continue to replace these windows with the white that is already, because in her eyes, she was replacing the windows with the original color. The white windows were there, replacing with white. One thing that the Historic Preservation Committee, which this is not a historical building or listed historical building, so they don't offer an opinion on this, but they did offer in this situation some insight. To them, the white was not the main criteria, neither, but the fact that the window sizes are remaining the original size and no attempt to reduce the size of the opening is being made here. And that's really what they're looking for, is that original opening is being retained. And our ordinance requires that as well, that you cannot shrink the opening of the window size, as we see in some other buildings around the area where it's shrunk. And sometimes there's a reason for that, for utilities and that, but the original size is being maintained here. And as I said, staff recommends letting the building owner continue to change the windows on the building with the white. This is a little retroactive, as half of the building's windows have been changed already. This was kind of triggered with a new ordinance within the city where window replacement requires a permit in general. So this hopefully will help capture some of these approvals on the downtown area ahead of time rather than after the fact. We do send out letters reminding people, building owners, that there's an approval process for exterior work in the downtown area in the historic district, but it doesn't always get seen. So we are continuing to try to keep that word out there, but hopefully we're developing avenues to catch these situations ahead of time. I'd be open for any questions on the project. It was pretty straightforward. Like I said, our ordinance does require them to be brown or bronze or dark in color. As I said, take any questions. But staff does recommend letting the building owner continue with the white.
So Jed, how much of this have they all been replaced already?
No, so here we're looking at the second story has been replaced, the third story has not. The rear of the building, which is to the west, has been replaced. And then the windows facing to the north are not replaced yet either. So
So do we have pictures of the other facades?
no,
Okay.
no, just this front facade was what was available. As you can see, they're very similar, the new ones versus the older ones on the third story. It's estimated that those were from the 70s, possibly, where those windows were changed out.
Yeah, it is clear that this building has been through multiple iterations
Mhm.
of windows, some more appropriate than others. As we can see, some boarded up windows there,
Mhm.
boarded windows there.
Yeah.
So that's been through several iterations. And we can see the white windows here
Right.
that were not the appropriate size, right? So that's how kind of in our downtown, we have a few of those places. And I know the goal of our ordinances are to ensure that when things are replaced, that they are done in an appropriate way. I guess I would like to see how the proposed replacement of the windows on the north facade, because I know that there's a mural there.
Mhm.
And I guess I would like to see how those, if they are currently white and being replaced with white, or if they are currently a different color and they're being replaced with white, that can change the,
They're currently white, but not a bright white,
okay.
as they've shown some age.
Okay.
We could provide those for sure.
And just for clarity again, Jed, the windows shown on the third floor are what they look like now or what they will look like?
That's what they look like now.
And they will look like
is-
the windows on the second floor.
Correct.
So that it'll be a double hung with that transom. On
As
top
far
of
as
it.
I'm told, that's the proposed, yeah.
A smaller double hung with a transom versus the larger double hung.
I believe with the vinyl, that becomes a more
Yeah.
stable window
Okay.
with that
Okay,
construction.
thank you.
And as part of this, the storefront could not go to vinyl or residential type construction.
Are these elements, Jill, maybe you can help me with
Yeah.
what these are called?
Cornice maybe?
Okay.
Or-
Are those missing?
Yes.
Is that, okay,
Yeah, they must have been removed at some point. Been
maybe to install those windows.
Those, yeah, or the lintels or something, yeah. Maybe the masonry was failing behind them.
Yeah, do we have,
We do have some historic photos, but they don't. That one's. Yeah, they do have those same
Mhm.
cornices.
you can see in the brick coloring of the
Yeah,
brick that they
yeah.
used to be there. As far as when they came down, that I do
Right.
not know.
Right. All right, are there additional questions from the Plan Commission for Mr. Drager?
I guess I would agree with Rebecca that it would be nice to see what the north elevation is going to look like with the new windows.
I believe I saw Mara Lee, the
Yes.
liaison to the Historic
she is.
Preservation Commission and the museum director on. Mara Lee, are you available to take a question?
I'm glad to take a question.
Did the Historic Preservation Commission discuss the windows on the other facades of this building?
No, just on the front side.
Okay. Any other questions from the Plan Commission for Mara Lee?
Marilee, you don't have an issue with the design of the new windows with the smaller double hung and a transom above?
I don't, I think going back to what Jed said regarding the window size,
Yeah.
keeping it the original shape and size is more important than the glass with the transom part on top.
Okay.
As long as it fits the window, I think
Yeah.
that's the key.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Anything from the Plan Commission on this matter?
I would move to approve the replacement of windows matching the previously installed white windows for the address location 131 North Main Street.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any final discussion, questions, comments by the Plan Commission? All right, I think this is for this is for all of the windows, correct? This approval would be for all of the
That's
windows.
what she's seeking, yeah, for the rest, the remaining of the windows.
So this does include all the windows on the building. I will just ask that maybe at our next Plan Commission meeting or after the project is complete, that we get some additional pictures of that, so we can visualize what those other ones look like. But we can handle that, I think, administratively. Okay, there's a motion and a second on the floor to approve the special area design review request for windows, these white windows throughout the building. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Item number 4 is adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned at 4:42 PM. Thank you all.